Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to continue our talk about the child's mother of Young Thug. So Young Thug's baby mom, a lady by the name of Lakevia Jackson, she lost her life in a bowling alley fight. So this is the story that originally came out. That there was some sort of fight over a bowling ball, and Lakevia Jackson ended up losing her life when exiting the fun center or the bowling alley where she was there to celebrate with some friends, right? Now, in our last update about this case, there was a community activist that went to the news and basically told a different story. He felt like the whole situation that led to Lakevia Jackson losing her life had nothing to do with a bowling alley or a bowling ball or a fight in that establishment. He believed that it was an even bigger play at hand with a gang war or between two gang factions that involved her baby's father, Young Thug, and another group called YFN. So there were two groups that was mentioned. There was a YFN and then there was a YSL. Well, it looks like, according to certain reports out there, a suspect has been apprehended in this case. Now, we're going to run down the report and talk about the evidence or whatever happened, leading up to his arrest. But before we do so, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, man, let's talk about this story from hiphopwired.com. Now, in the headline, it says this. It says, arrest made in murder of Young Thug's baby mother, Lakevia Jackson. So that just lets you know that somebody has been arrested. And they have his mugshot here. And they're saying it's provided by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. So obviously he was arrested in Atlanta, right? Now, the story starts off by saying this. It says, on March 17th, Lakevia Jackson, who happened to be one of the mothers of one of rapper Young Thug's sons, was killed after a dispute in a bowling alley. Now, like I said in the intro, there was a whole story that ran originally that they were fighting over a bowling ball, and that's what led to the shooter being outside and waiting and taking her life, right? It seemed highly unlikely at the time. You had a lot of people scratching their head because that is a drastic overreaction over a bowling ball in a bowling alley. I'm pretty sure there's other balls in that place, right? Pause, but man, let's continue. It goes on to say, a man with a lengthy rap sheet, Joshua Fleetwood, has been arrested in connection with the murder. So you have his mugshot right here, and they said that he has a lengthy rap sheet. So I'm not sure if it involves any shootings or anything of that nature, but that's what they're saying here in this report, right? Now, on Thursday, March 31st, the Atlanta PD announced that Fleetwood had been arrested and charged with several different charges. Those are including felony murder, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. All right, so based on his charges alone, you already know he wasn't supposed to have a weapon because he's a convicted felon. Now, this in no way says that he's guilty of this. At this point, he's just a suspect, and everybody's innocent until proven guilty, right? But the big charge is that felony murder. And when it comes down to it, I don't see how that doesn't get bumped up, man. It's probably going to look ugly for him when the indictment comes down. You know what I mean? When they come down with everything. Feel me? Now, the story continues by saying this. The circumstances about the shooting and her subsequent death are disturbing. Reportedly, Jackson and the killer got into a dispute in a bowling alley over a bowling ball at the Metro Fun Center on a Thursday night. She was there celebrating a friend's birthday. So just a regular night out. They get into a little fight or argument or whatever about a bowling ball. I mean, really, it should be in there. I mean, it probably shouldn't even go to any type of argument and fight. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, let's be real. You had a fun center. You're supposed to be there to have fun. Who cares if somebody has a ball that you want, man? It's like, that's so petty in the whole grand scheme of life. Now, it continues by saying, after the altercation inside, it moved outside where the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports 2 women agreed to fight. So I guess there were 2 women that got to fight. Man, didn't Tupac have a lyric about that? It was something like, when women get to fighting, cats get to dying, but he was talking about dudes, you know what I mean, in a hood situation. Obviously, they were out there doing their thing as far as, trying to have some fun, right? Now, the story continues by saying, however, guns were retrieved and shots were fired. So they retrieved guns. I think they misquoted right there. Maybe they meant guns were pulled out, you know what I mean? But they said guns were retrieved and shots were fired. According to the police, Jackson suffered multiple gunshot wounds, and the 31-year-old was pronounced dead on the scene by EMTs. Fleetwood is believed to be the shooter. Now that is wild, man. So I couldn't imagine a situation where two women are fighting and a dude just comes through. I don't know, man. This story just seems sketchy, man. I don't know what about this story. From the time that they said an altercation started about a bowling ball or whatever, my mind started thinking like, man, that's pretty wild, man. But we'll continue. Now it says Jackson and Young Thug share a 14-year-old son named. Now they share a 14-year-old son, and he's probably going through it right now, man. As well as Young Thug. I don't think even Young Thug has spoke on this situation. Now Fleetwood is currently in the Fulton County jail since this murder charge. Don't expect him to get bail. So they're saying there won't be a likelihood that he gets bail. Now they show this post here as well, where the original shooting took place, and one of her friends went to social media, and she said that she had spoke with her mom and was talking to her on the phone while her daughter was losing her life. Horrible tale, man. Check out the first video I did on that subject, and it breaks that down. But man, I wonder, after the last two reports about this, does this have anything to do with what he was talking about, what the community activist, I should say, was talking about in the last report? The last update, the community activist guy, he was talking about, and he also works for the news as well. He was talking about, he believed this was a whole situation set up and put in play because of a back and forth between YSL and YFN. That's what he said verbatim in that report, right? And he believed that the two groups had been having confrontations in the streets, and this would lead to other confrontations later and other shootings if they weren't stopped and somebody didn't step in and try to quench the violence. Now, I'm not sure if all that proves true with this gentleman, Fleetwood, or being arrested, and I'm calling him by his last name, but you know who I'm talking about, man. The dude in this mugshot right here, bro. His name is Joshua Fleetwood. With him being arrested, I wonder if he's aligned to any one of those groups, you know what I mean? Or if he has anything to do with any of that. But remember, in the original report, the APD, they was like, yo, we already know who this is, dog. We already know who the guy is. We have videos. We have all this. I mean, think about it. It's a fun center with a bowling alley. You know there's cameras there. There's probably all sorts of cameras all through the parking lot and all that. So, man, it was only a matter of time. But what do you guys think about this story, man? Do you think this brings this case to an end and they might have the right guy? You know, they wouldn't be using all their resources and putting this information out if it wasn't? Or do you feel we still need to see more details and see was there a bigger play at hand here because of the last report we heard about this story? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.